You ready to go to the defense? Talk some
All-decade, baby.
all-decade team. This is fun. This is a hard. I'll be honest. This is kind of a hard one because
Yeah, this was hard.
I don't know if you've watched Tennessee football in the last decade, but the
There was a
defense.
book. There was a book named after it.
Yeah, the defense was not the. It was probably the definition of dysfunction for most of the decade. There were some highlight moments, but I mean, even when you talk about the 1 year in 2016 when you probably should have been better, your defense should have been better. Coach didn't trust your defensive coordinator, and that kills you. So that kills you. But all-decade defense. Where do you want to start? Starting the secondary. We starting in the defensive line.
Yeah, we can start secondary. It's fine with me.
Oh, secondary.
Start
Okay.
with-
This is kind of difficult, by the way, for me. I don't know.
It was difficult. So you want to start with? Are we doing 2 corners and 2 safeties?
That's what I did.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. I'll start with my corners. These were kind of easy. I'll say that. These were 2 guys kind of stood out among the rest. And this was see, here's my issue. This is where I issue. Are we gonna do like a nickel star position? I feel like we should.
I didn't do that, but we can.
In dedication of Rashaan Gaulden, because I don't know where you stick him. I guess at safety. If
That's
nickel.
where I had him.
Okay, all right. But I did Cam Sutton and Justin Coleman as my 2 corners.
Those are mine as well. I think that's
They stand
easy.
out.
We haven't had a ton of great corners.
Brice Thompson. We talked about this with Brandon Kennedy at center. Brice Thompson could almost put his name in the hat for all-decade corner.
And he's played 2 seasons.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Brice Thompson definitely got close. But, I mean, even Cam Sutton was head and shoulders. Like, you knew you were going to put his name down when you immediately thought of it. And then Justin Coleman was I don't know if he was necessarily an easy choice, but he did stand out among the rest.
Yeah, and he's making a ton of money being the highest paid nickel cornerback in the NFL.
He didn't play much nickel at Tennessee, did he? We didn't
we
use
didn't
nickel that much, though.
Yeah, we didn't run a lot of nickel. He was. I mean, good for him. Good for finding a role.
Right. No, yeah, absolutely.
If
he had
if
I
I,
think, 2 pretty good seasons at Tennessee, but I was pretty surprised to see some of the contracts he's gotten. Some spots he's
100%.
missed. So
I mean, Emanuel Mosley is another one that
Emanuel Mosley was absolutely shocking.
Yeah.
I would have lost the house on that one after I bet when you were like, Emanuel Mosley, starting corner.
in the Super Bowl.
In the Super Bowl, I would have lost a lot of money on that bet.
Yeah, 100%.
And I would have bet a lot of money because I'm going, I watched him play college football.
Yeah,
not a
no
chance.
way.
Good for him, though.
Because he was like, when he got on campus, he was like 100 pounds soaking wet.
And did he get much? Like, did he put on much weight his 4
Dude,
years?
he had like when he left, he had to weigh like maybe 130.
Yeah, good
maybe.
for him, though. I mean, great for him.
Yeah, I
Great
think
for
he's
him.
on the smaller side still, but hey,
Yeah.
whatever you're doing, keep doing it.
He's making it work. He's making it work. Yeah, and then everybody knows about Cam Sutton. Everybody knows about him.
Cam.
You got who are your safeties? Because I guess since I didn't do Rashaan Gaulden because I was kind of like corner nickel. I don't know where I put him. And my safeties,
Gotcha.
I know this one. I'll do my first one real quick. This may be a hot take, but I got to go Todd Kelly Jr.
Oh, okay. I didn't put Todd Kelly Jr. I thought about that. He'd probably be, if we did a nickel, he'd probably be it. But I went Rashaan Gaulden over him, and then I went Brian Randolph.
Okay, so our Brian Randolph matches up, and then, Rashaan Gaulden would be in there if we didn't do a nickel. If we do a nickel, I'm probably putting in, and here's why I go Todd Kelly Jr. Probably going Rashaan Gaulden over Brian Randolph. Here's why I go Todd Kelly Jr. Dude was a ball hawk. And he got, some injuries that kept him out his senior season, and then I think he tried to redshirt and couldn't play. That injuries just kept him away. But he found the ball so much. And I think his sophomore season, I think he was like our 2nd or 3rd leading tackler for Tennessee. And I don't know. The dude found the ball. And that's kind of important when you're a safety, is finding the ball, whether you're making a tackle or making the play on the ball. And he did that. I love Todd Kelly Jr. I wish he could have stayed healthy throughout his entire career. I think he could be making some money as a NFL safety.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was looking. I went with Brian Randolph over Todd Kelly Jr. Just because of the 2 seasons he didn't really play very much. Didn't really have any production. Brian Randolph, his last 3 seasons, I think 2 of those he was all SEC. He had over 300 tackles in his career at Tennessee. That's why I had to go with Brian Randolph. And then Rashaan Gaulden, he was just – I think Brian Randolph doesn't get enough credit because he was on a terrible defense.
Oh, yeah. He definitely was a part of those rough
Right, and that's probably why he got so many tackles, because that front seven didn't tackle anybody.
I was about to say about Todd Kelly too. I think it's not great that your safety's, your second or third leading tackler. That means they're getting past the front seven, but the safety's still got to make those tackles. So that's the good news.
Yeah.
The Brian Randolph. I did not realize how good his stats were until I started doing the research. I knew how good he was. He played in the NFL. Is he still in the NFL?
I don't think so. I know he was on our show before. I think he played in the CFL.
He played with the Rams for a couple seasons. I know.
Right, and I think he played in the CFL, and then I don't think he's playing anymore.
Okay. And but yeah, I knew he was good, and like you said, it's probably easy to forget guys like that when they're on just not great defenses. But yeah, his stats spoke for themselves. Like you said, all SEC. 2 years, is that what you said?
Yeah, I think it was 2 years. I think I looked that up. I can't believe you didn't have Justin Martin or Malik Foreman on your cornerbacks.
No comment. No comment.
Let's go linebackers.
I'll say this one's easy, but I don't know if it was easy. The first two.
I kind of went different. And you're going to find out what I did when we go to defensive line, but go ahead.
Okay, so I went my first two linebackers. I'll go two, you go two, and then I'll go two. Fair? Did you do four linebackers?
I did three.
Okay, that's fine. My dog is getting into everything. I'm sorry. AJ Johnson and Jalen Reeves-Maybin were my first two. I thought they were easy choices. Yep.
I also have AJ Johnson, Jalen Reeves-Maybin. I also have Daniel Bituli as my third.
So Daniel Bituli is my third, and that was a kind of, I had to decide between a couple people. But I did decide officially on Daniel Bituli. And I'll just go ahead and give you my fourth, and we don't have to count it. And this was the only reason I kind of got stuck on some people. And I was like, all right, if we were making a team on NCAA and I had to pick, I'll pick Curt Maggitt. I know his career was filled with injuries, and it was tough for him to even play a full season. But, when he was on the field, he was a game changer, especially when he was next to AJ Johnson.
Yeah, 100%. So I went Curt Maggitt too, but I put him at defensive line because he kind of played a hybrid of defensive end, outside linebacker. So I have him as defensive line because, dude,
he's a freak.
And defensive end, we have not had a ton of great ones.
No, and I know a lot of people would probably hate me for it. So I did 4 defensive linemen too, and my other DN. We know the obvious one. My other DN, I know you'll like it. Corey Vereen.
Corey Vereen, baby.
And a lot of people I know are going, Darrell Taylor, come on. But his stats aren't far behind Darrell Taylor. Corey Vereen's aren't. And again, it kind of came down to that. I was like, if I want him on my team. So I guess I'm not just looking at stats. I did look at stats partially. I wanted to make sure they were pretty close. I think Darrell Taylor had 6 more sacks than Corey Vereen maybe. But, maybe some of those sacks are because Derek Barnett got there faster, He played next to the greatest. But if you watched him play, you remember how impactful he was. And he kind of helped Derek Barnett because teams weren't able to just double team and shade to Derek Barnett's side. You had another defensive end to account for.
Yep. Yeah, I like that pick. I went Daniel Bituli linebacker, and I know a lot of people put Curt Maggitt, AJ Johnson, Jalen Reeves-Maybin because they kind of played for each other with each other for 1 year. But I went Daniel Bituli just because he led the team in tackles for 3 straight seasons.
Yeah. And
you saw his impact he had on the defense when he wasn't playing those first couple games of the season. Right. And you saw the difference in the defense when he wasn't there. It was a totally different defense. I think we finished 29th in the country in total defense. And those last 2 games, we had to be close to last because it was awful.
I don't disagree with the Daniel Bituli pick. Obviously, I chose him. And you talked about how impactful he was. That was several of these guys. I was just trying to decide because a lot of the stats are very similar. And then a lot of the times, Tennessee wasn't very good when you talk about some of these guys. But you try to think about how impactful they were. And that's why I settled on Corey Vereen and then Daniel Bituli as well.
Yep. So who are your other defensive linemen? I have Curt Maggitt as one. My other one, I have Malik Jackson. I'll let you go 2.
I have Malik Jackson. I did 2 tackles. Did you do 2 tackles or just 1?
I have 2 tackles.
Okay, so and that's why this is kind of confusing too because you've seen the college football and football as a whole shift from a 4-3 defense to a 3-4. So that's why I gave us. I thought maybe I didn't text it to you or maybe I texted it wrong, but I did 4 defensive linemen and 4 linebackers because for a time, Tennessee had 2 tackles. For a time, they really, they played with a hybrid there. It wasn't necessarily 2 big men lining up in the middle. But I've got Shy Tuttle and Malik Jackson as my tackles.
Okay. I have Daniel McCullers and Malik Jackson. I think we can all agree on the other one is Derek Barnett.
Yeah, that was an easy choice. That was the first one I wrote down. Kind of cheated. Got off to a good start. It's like writing your name on a paper.
I think one of my first posts on Instagram was a picture of Daniel McCullers when we got to go stand on the sidelines and
he was
kind of do the – dude, he was massive. He takes up my whole screen on a picture.
What were his stats in college, though?
I know he's still in the league.
Is he?
Yeah, I think he's still with the Steelers.
Oh, my gosh. I didn't know that. I honestly kind of forgot about him, which is incredible to forget about somebody that big.
Yeah. Yeah, he's still a nose tackle for the Steelers.
Dang. That's pretty incredible. I mean, how often is he playing on Sundays, though?
Probably not very much, but still, I mean, when you're that big, you're like, okay, he can at least play somewhere.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm going to try to find his stats.
Yeah, that's insane. Also, while you're looking for that, I did pull up the Vols All-American. It looks like the last time we had 2 in one season was 1999. That's what it looks like. It was Cozy Coleman and who was the other one? I had it up here. Well, I lost it. I had it up here a second ago.
So he had in 2 seasons he had 41 tackles, or 72 total tackles, 41 solo tackles, 10 tackles for loss, and 1.5 sacks.
Sorry, it was Deion Grant, Cozy Coleman. Say those again. I'm sorry, I was looking for the.
So he had 72 total tackles in 2 years, 2012, 2013.
It's not bad for a nose tackle.
Right. And 10 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks, 2 pass deflections, a forced fumble, and 2 blocks, and a fumble recovery.
Yeah, that's I mean, most of the time at that position, you're just trying to take up space. So that's pretty good if you can register that many tackles.
Yeah. I think if Shy Tuttle could have been in Jeremy Pruitt's system for another year, I think him and Kyle Phillips make this list.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. So the reason I put Shy Tuttle again is impactful. And I'm kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, look at what he's done in the NFL. It's kind of when he was on the field, what did he do? So
he made your list as soon as he stiff armed Matt Ryan.
100%.